Good morning, my little chickadees. Today we're going to learn another set of formulas called the half angle formulas. If you look at your reference sheet, okay, and I'm assuming everybody has it because nobody sent me a text saying that they don't have it. Let me see if I can make it bigger here. Okay. Half angles are found over here, half angle formulas. Now, if you notice, it says sine of theta over 2 gives you a formula, cosine gives a formula, tangent gives a formula, and then they have an alternate form. I've never used the alternate form, so we're just going to disregard that. Okay, because the alternate form, believe it or not, uses the double angle formula. So it's a formula within a formula. Who wants to do that? That's ridiculous. So these are the half angle formulas that we are going to be using today. And I'm just going to show you 3 little examples. It's not that hard. Again, why do we need these formulas? Well, we need the formulas when they ask us questions like this. Find the exact is your key word here, exact value of the cosine of 112.5. That's not one of our reference angles. It has nothing to do with 30, 60, or 45. It's not one of the angles on the unit circle, so we can't find the exact value. If they just asked us for the value, we could plug it in the calculator, but we can't find the exact. But what I notice about 112, if I could take 112.5 and times it by 2, and I get 225. 225 is an angle that is found on my unit circle. It is in quadrant 3, and its reference is 45. So that means this is half of one of our good angles. So I am going to take the cosine of 112.5, and I'm going to rewrite it as the cosine of 225 divided by 2. See how that works? 112.5 is technically half of one of the angles that I know how to solve. Okay? Then I'm going to use the cosine half angle formula from my sheet. All right? Notice also it says plus or minus, plus or minus, plus or minus. We determine plus or minus by where this angle is located, the original. So 112 degrees is located in quadrant 2. Okay? But in quadrant 2, its sine is positive. So if I'm looking for the cosine, it's going to be negative the square root of, it's 1 minus the cosine of the angle. This is the angle that we're going to use. We can't use 112. We don't know what that is. We're using this one. 1 minus the cosine of 225 divided by 2. That's what we're going to simplify. Okay, again, the half angle formula is the cosine of some angle divided by 2. That's the angle that we put in there. It's going to give us that. Okay, now we're going to have to simplify this. This is when our math skills are really put to the test. So pay attention and follow me. It's negative the square root 1 minus the cosine of 225. First of all, 225 is in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, cosine is negative. So it's going to be negative. The reference angle, we know it ends in 5, so the reference is going to be 45. It's radical 2 over 2 divided by 2. Let's simplify that numerator. So it's negative the square root of 1 plus square root of 2 over 2. And the whole thing is still over that denominator of 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change that 1 so I could simplify it to 2 over 2. Right? Isn't 2 over 2 1? 2 over 2 plus radical 2 over 2 divided by 2. I'm going to squeeze it down here. Negative the square root of, so 2 over 2 plus radical 2 over 2. If I simplify that, it's just 2 plus radical 2 over 2. The whole thing over 2. Okay? Now what I'm going to do, see this over here? I'm going to do the math over in the corner. All right? This math is really 2 plus radical 2 over 2 divided by 2, which really is 2 plus radical 2 over 2 times the reciprocal, which is going to give me over 4. So it is negative the square root of 2. Did I have that? I don't know why I have a negative on my paper. I'm sorry. I'm just checking it. Plus square root of 2 over 4. Okay, and let's see, can I simplify that? Well, I could take the square root of the denominator, so it's just going to be, and this is where it looks a little awkward, negative the square root of 2 plus radical 2 all over 2. Because if I square root the top, I'm left with a square root over a square root, that's fine. And if I square root the bottom, I'm left with 4. That is going to be your final answer. Okay, any questions with that? Okay, I just realized where I made a mistake. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the signs are wrong. This was supposed to be plus to begin with. So that means the whole signs are going to change to negative. Good thing I'm using a Sharpie. Okay, there you go. All right, I didn't realize the original formula was a plus. I looked at the sine formula instead of the cosine formula. All right, this is what I did. I looked here instead of looking here. So I apologize, it's a plus, which meant when this was a plus and this was a minus, it became a minus. So just change that sign. I know I had it right on my paper. Okay, I'm not worried so much as you getting the formula. I'm worried about you doing the math in here. So let's try another one with the math. Okay, again, I'm going to ask you to find the exact value for the sine of 22.5. Again, weird number, okay? So as we did with the other ones, when we said we couldn't find those numbers, we can see if we can manipulate it. 22.5 times 2 is 45, okay? So very nicely, okay, we can rewrite this as the sine of 45 divided by 2. Remember, it's not the sine of 45, it's 45 divided by 2. I know you're going to say, oh, it's a 45-degree angle, radical 2 over 2, but it's not, it's that over 2. Okay, so now we're going to use the sine formula. Now, again, it's so weird because the cosine, the half angle formulas all use cosine. Okay, except when it's a sine, it's a minus, which is what I used for the previous one. So it's going to be the square root of 1 minus the cosine of 45 over 2. Now remember I discussed the positive or negative in front should be plus or negative. Where is the original? Okay, the original angle is located, 22.5 is here in quadrant 1. A quadrant 1 angle is positive, so that means this will be positive. And now we just have to do the math, okay? So it's going to be the square root of 1 minus the cosine of 45 is radical 2 over 2 divided by 2. We're going to change that 1 to 2 over 2, so we can actually do the math so it has the same denominator. So it's going to be the square root of 2 minus radical 2 over 2, the whole thing divided by 2. Okay, we're going to do our little flippy math here. This divided by this is really this times the reciprocal. So it's going to work out to be 2 minus radical 2 over 4. Okay, you're going to take the square root of the numerator, the square root of the denominator. When I take the square root of the numerator, there's nothing I could do except just write it. It's a square root of a square root. Okay, it doesn't like cancel each other out or anything like that. And then this becomes 2. And that is your final answer. Okay, so again, it's just that you need to know when to use it. All right, that's just going to be your lesson for today, guys. I just wanted to show you that. And I just have 2 problems I want you to work on, okay, for homework. So I want you to find the exact value of the sine of 67.5 degrees and the sine of the tangent. We didn't use that formula yet, but it's there. The tangent of 157.5 degrees. Okay, so that's it. Nice little lesson. By the end of the week, we're going to be finishing up this whole chapter. Hope everyone is well. Send me a message if you need to talk or if you need anything. Miss you all. Love you, my little chickadees. Speak to you soon.